In today's show, we're going to talk about 5 ways to help simplify your retirement and your retirement plan.
Welcome to the Your Life, Your Money podcast with Scott Searns, teaching you how to thrive in life, wealth, and retirement.
Welcome to the Retirement Show, all about your life, your money, and your retirement. I'm your host, Scott Searns, and my goal is to help you thrive in life, wealth, and retirement. And that's what we're going to focus on today is how can you simplify your retirement and simplify your retirement plan. Did you know the first week of August is National Simplify Your Life Week? I didn't know, but I found it and I'm like, man, this really relates to what we're constantly trying to help clients with, help people that watch our show and our YouTube videos and watch our podcast and listen to our podcast with, is how can you get what you need to get done, but still simplify your retirement and simplify your retirement plan. You know, I'm an engineer by degree, so we have a tendency to be a little detailed, sometimes overanalyze things, so sometimes get into the weeds and really analyze all the different aspects of something. But sometimes too, that takes a lot of time and can take us away from the action of what needs to get done. And then when you do all of that work and you look back, you're like, oh, the answer was just super simple. And it was just staring me right there in the face. Not all the times, but sometimes. And, you know, sometimes I find, even as an engineer, the biggest payback that I can get is when I simplify the scenario, make a decision, and then decide to move on, right? Understanding how big of a decision it is and the amount of risk with that decision. Also, to kind of go along with this, I'm just trying to get the wheels turning, right? As we talk about simplifying your retirement plan. If you think about, I was given the story in one of our previous podcasts that this past year in the winter, my wife, Christy, and I went down into our basement. We said, all right, we are decluttering this basement. We are getting rid of stuff that we didn't need. When she moved in, we just kind of, whether it was my stuff, her stuff, we put everything down in the basement. Well, it was time to go down there and declutter. Sometimes decluttering is actually simplifying life too. Because we went down there and we said, okay, do we need it? Do we not need it? If we don't need it, let's get rid of it. And you know what? We haven't missed anything that's gone. Now when we go down to our basement, we can find what we need. We know what's down there, and it's all stuff that's going to, you know, help us accomplish something around the house, but we just had to put it or store it in the basement. And I'll tell you what, when we go down there, we feel a whole lot better too, and not overwhelmed by going down into the basement because we've decluttered it. We've simplified our basement. So I use those stories because I want you to get thinking about life. Man, it does make a lot of sense when I've simplified these other parts of my life. And then how can we take and implement that into your retirement or your retirement plan? And so today I'm just going to go through 5 different ways that I think that you could potentially simplify your life, simplify your retirement, or simplify your retirement plan. So the first one, similar to our basement, similar to getting rid of all that clutter, is, do you have too much paperwork sitting around? So is there a way that you can simplify your retirement plan when it comes to paperwork? Get rid of the old. Get rid of the new. Things are online now. I understand that there's some things out there. And I'm going to talk about what should we keep versus maybe what can we get rid of. But, you know, a lot of things are online now. So it's okay. I'm giving you permission. But we're going to talk about what you might want to keep around. So go through my what you want to keep list. And then after that, I'm giving you permission to throw things away. It's okay. Get rid of the old as long as you have figured out what it is that you might need to keep. And when I say throw things away, be always very careful, right? If it's got your personal information on it, your account numbers on it, whatever it might have on it, well then shred the document. So that way it's getting rid of all that, you know, personal information. But maybe it's time to look through your paperwork and get rid of some things. So as you go through your paperwork, that old papers that you've been keeping around for years and years and years and years, let's talk about what you might want to keep. So first, I'm going to say policies. What kind of policies? Well, maybe you've got an insurance policy or an annuity policy, or I guess those would be kind of a couple of the different things. Probably an insurance policy, life insurance policy, or maybe like an annuity policy. And you want to keep that initial policy. That's okay if you want to keep the initial policy, but if you've been getting statement after statement after statement, and the company that you have that policy through has never changed or never been updated or anything like that, so it's all with the same company, you probably don't need all of those statements. And depending on when you got this policy, a lot of things are online now. You might not even need the initial policy. So, really take a look at what you have and go, okay, well, I got this in the year 2020. Is it online? Most likely. Do you need to keep it? Most likely not. But if you want to keep the initial one, I understand that. Go ahead and keep that. But do you need all of the statements that you can go online and find? Or you could contact the company and they've got to keep all those statements, so then they're just going to provide them to you. You probably don't need the year after year after year statements for that account. So maybe just the initial policy. Now, maybe your policy's from the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, or maybe it's from the early 2000s where it might not be online. Well, in that case, you want to keep that initial policy so you've got your record of things. But if you're like, well, but do they have their record too? Do I need to keep all of these ongoing statements? You know what? You can always call the company and say, hey, just making sure you still show that I have a policy with you. And if they say yes, well then great. Then you might not need all of the, ask them for the updated value. Does it match what you have? Good. Then you don't need to keep all of those annual statements, maybe just the initial policy. So there you go. Life insurance, initial policies, annuity, initial policies, maybe keep those, but you don't need the annual statements. Brokerage statements. Now, when I say brokerage, I'm not talking about your 401k. I'm not talking about your IRA. I'm talking about if you have a non-retirement brokerage account. And I'm going to say if it's a non-retirement brokerage account, maybe from like the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s, where you're still holding the same position. The reason why you might want to keep not all of those statements, but a most recent statement is if you have a cost basis that you would need to transfer over to like a current company or something like that, a current brokerage company. But again, if you have sold those positions, you no longer have those positions, you've moved on to a different company and your cost basis is transferred over, then you probably don't need all those statements that you've kept from those brokerage accounts from way back when and years back when. So hopefully you understand right now, I'm just trying to kind of challenge your thoughts a little bit on all this paperwork that you might be not hoarding, but keeping around, saving around for that just in case moment. Take what you've got, call the company, as long as they've got it on file and they've got your most recent value up to date, guess what? They're keeping it on file as well. If it makes you feel better, keep that initial policy. Now, the next one though, where you do need to keep some years around would be your taxes. So I went to the IRS website, took a look, and from a tax standpoint, according to the IRS website, it says keep records for 3 years from the date originally filed, or 2 years from when you paid, whichever is later. So there you go. That's right from the IRS website. So if you're keeping 10 years, 11 years, 12 years worth of taxes, it's not necessary. According to their website, you only need 3. If it makes you more comfortable keeping a few extra years because it's not that, taking up that much space, okay. But, now you know kind of what it says on their website. And the reason I go through this, is because, again, just like us decluttering our basement and we walked down there and we felt more comfortable about everything. I find this happens a lot too with just old paperwork. Sometimes clients will bring in, paperwork and statements and from accounts with us or accounts that they had previously. And if we walk through it and just go, well, you can shred this, you can shred this, you can shred this, you can shred this, you can shred this. Oh, keep this one, and then you can shred this. I kind of feel like a weight gets lifted off of people's shoulders. They're like, gosh, yes, this was just taking up space, or I look at it and it just stresses me out because it's a bunch of paperwork. Simplify your life, get rid of the old, figure out what you have to keep, But if it's annual statement after annual statement after annual statement and the company has never changed, maybe keep the original. Keep one statement if it makes you happy, but it's okay. You can finally throw away the rest. So there's, way number one to help simplify your retirement plan is get rid of the old paperwork that you no longer need. And you might be thinking, but yes, I'm going to keep this one just in case. And I'll give you a story here of a person who kept an old 401k document. And they're like, so glad I kept this because I never transferred this 401k. And it was from over 10 to 15, actually over 15 years ago, this statement was from, and they're like, I never transferred it. So let's reach out to them and we'll roll over the 401k. Well, guess what? When we reached out to them, the 401k company had since changed. They no longer had this person on record. And now the person's now having to go back to the employer to figure out where the 401k is now being custodied and everything like that. So sometimes keeping all of those old statements, if you're not keeping track of when the company that's the custodian of the 401k plan or the IRA plan or something like that has changed, holding on to some of that old paperwork may not even help you out. So there you go. Way number one, to simplify your life. Spent probably too much time on it, but hopefully got the point across of you can get rid of some of the old paperwork. Okay, let's talk about number two. Another way to simplify your retirement plan. And this one to me is a game changer for those that are pre-retirement, but also in retirement. And this is automation. What do I mean when I say automation? Well, let's talk about pre-retirement. This would be automating your savings, automating what you're saving into your 401k or into your Roth 401k. Maybe you're maximizing that out, maxing it out already, right? You're hitting the max in your 401k. Well, then you need to start automating saving into a brokerage account, automate saving into the IRA or the Roth IRA. But automation, right, really helps simplify things because then you just don't have to think about it. It's happening. You can always update it, but then it's happening and it's getting done. So automating your savings is a huge game changer for those in pre-retirement. You might be thinking, well, yeah, this is what I do. That's what my company does, and that's my 401k. But have you reviewed it? Have you updated it? And if you're maxing that out, is there something else that you should be automating so that way you're continuing to save for your retirement? Meaning, should you also be automating? I've got clients where they're maxing out their 401k or their Roth 401k. And then what we've done is we've set up another automation where they're transferring money from their checking account into their brokerage account each and every month. So they're saving more on top of that for their retirement. So that's pre-retirement. I'll tell you personally, what we do is we automate not only our retirement savings, but then we automate saving into a brokerage account, a non-retirement investment account. Again, just saving additional and investing additional money for the future. Now, what about automation in retirement? You're probably like, I'm retired. I don't have the company paycheck coming in anymore. What should I automate in retirement that's going to help simplify my retirement or my retirement plan? And what this would be is automating your withdrawals, basically automating your retirement paycheck. Share how we do this with our clients. For a lot of clients, when they were working, they were very used to getting that company paycheck each and every week, every 2 weeks, once a month. Well, now that they've moved into retirement, what we've done is we've automated their retirement paycheck. So each and every month on the date that they so choose, they're going to get a transfer from their investment accounts, maybe their IRA or their Roth IRA or their brokerage account, into their checking account. For them, they're like, wow, this is just like being at work. It's no change, no difference. That's why I say it's kind of like a game changer, because moving into retirement can be a tough transition, but if you automate what feels like a company paycheck again, it helps make that transition into retirement a whole lot easier. So there you go. Number one, can we simplify by reducing some of the old paperwork we're keeping around? Number two, automation. And then number 3, we're going to talk about, which is simplifying your investments. Now, I think this one can really make or break a retirement plan. And this one's really, maybe underestimated. Like, people don't realize how big of an impact simplifying your investments can be on your retirement plan and on your financial future. And like I say, investments can really make or break your retirement plan. So 2 parts to this one, actually. Now, the first part is consolidating your accounts. What do I mean by this? Well, if you have old 401ks, so you've got 401ks that you've left at previous employers, bringing all of those together in an IRA or in your current 401k, or you've brought all of them to your current 401k, now you've retired, you want to roll all of that over to one IRA. And no, you can't, if your spouse is, you can't put your 401k with your spouse's 401k. We can't do that. But I'm just saying, if you have multiple old 401ks, I'm trying to think, recently, just number of people that we've met with that when they come in here, they have 3, 4 old 401ks, and then they've got a couple IRAs. And so they've got all of these different accounts in different locations, all taxed the same. And you can just see it's very overwhelming for them because honestly, they're not certain how each and every one of those different accounts is invested, and if the investments are in a strategy that's going to work for them and for their future. And as we help them continue to bring stuff together. So let's say you did have 5 old 401k accounts. You can roll all 5 of those into one IRA. Now think about that. You're looking at one account, and you can implement a strategy across that account that you can then use for you and your future. And of course, follow, maybe if you're not sure about doing rollovers and can you roll over and are you still working or not working, talk to a financial professional, talk to your tax professional. But the number one reason I would hear people say, well, I don't want to roll everything over to that one IRA is because they don't want to put all of their eggs in one basket. Now, there's a big misconception about that because imagine we have 5 different baskets. And in those 5 different baskets, let's just say each of the companies that you're working with are all holding Apple stock. Well, you're in 5 different baskets, but if they're all holding the same stock and that stock drops, guess what? All 5 baskets are going down. Now, you could put everything in one basket, but what if in that one basket you now have different funds or different stocks or different bond funds, or you're diversifying in that one basket, you're diversifying across multiple funds. Now you're diversified. It's okay to be in one basket, but now you can implement a strategy in that one basket that's going to help you for your future. So I find that once people do start to bring things together, in my opinion, again, it starts to take more weight off the shoulders of just being overwhelmed and confused by all of these different accounts that they have out there. Plus, it's less to track, right? We were talking about paperwork and people keeping old paperwork around just in case. Hey, if you bring everything together, it's less that you have to track. It's all in one location. So part A is consolidating your accounts where you can consolidate them. I see it all the time. People have these old 401ks that just haven't thought about it. Or they said, I left there, I'll just leave it there. It seemed to be doing okay until the market goes down. Then they realize, oh, wait, maybe it wasn't doing okay. It's all based on the market up and downs, right? But they're not putting it into a strategy. And when we look at some of those investments, some of them don't even make sense for what the person or that couple wants to do for their future. So consolidating accounts, should you consider that? It'll really help simplify your retirement and retirement plan. The second part of simplifying your investments is, are you in a strategy that you understand? And a lot of times I find that people can overcomplicate investing and investments. Sometimes they're thinking, oh man, if I go with the super complex investment strategy, that's going to get me the best return out there. There's nothing out there that proves that that's going to get you the best return out there. So let's just kind of break this down, simplifying your investments. Let's say you're in the pre-retirement years and you're still saving for your retirement. And you're like, I have no clue on how to invest and what to do. Well, then maybe you just want to pick a target date fund in your 401k or your IRA. Target date fund says, I'm going to retire in 2030. You pick that fund, you put all of your money in that fund, and then that fund, if properly managed, is supposed to then balance within itself different equities and fixed income based on your retirement date. Now, to me, those are potentially good for pre-retirement years. If you're like, I have no idea what to do, and I'm looking at this list of 20 different funds in my 401k and wondering what to pick, great, go pick a target date fund. Now, if life's become more complex, you've saved up a decent amount, now you want to start putting a strategy towards your investments. But again, we don't want to overcomplicate the strategy. And here's one maybe simple rule to go by when it comes to simplifying your investments. Do you understand the strategy? If you understand the strategy, or if you understand the strategy that your financial professional is providing to you, well then, great. That might be something that you want to proceed with. If you don't understand it, then maybe it shouldn't be in your investment portfolio. We like to keep things really simple when working with investments with our clients. You've heard me talk about it on the podcast and YouTube videos. We got our growth portion, which we take I'll call it a passive approach. So we're just trying to get what the different equity indexes provide to us in the growth portion of our investment portfolios. And then, because working with a lot of people that are retiring or approaching retirement, we have our war chest portion. And what's the war chest? Well, it's not subject to the same volatility as our growth portion. Why do we want the war chest? Well, if the growth portion goes down, right, we want to have a pool of funds to be able to go to, so that way we can still help provide their retirement paychecks while we wait for the growth portion to bounce back up. Keeping it simple. If you're wondering what to put in your growth portion and what to put in your war chest, well, then maybe it is time to hire someone to help you put a strategy behind your investments. But just something to keep in mind, because investments will have a huge impact on your future retirement and your retirement paychecks. Something, again, to keep in mind. A lot of times there can be a lot of great ads out there, and there can be a lot of great salespeople out there. But if you look at this investment and you're talking to your financial professional or to somebody that's trying to sell you something or whatever it might be, and you can't understand it, then maybe it shouldn't be in your investment portfolio. If it doesn't make sense to you, then maybe it doesn't make sense for your investment portfolio. And so I'm going to leave it at that. But keeping investments simple, in my opinion, will have a huge impact on your future and your future retirement paychecks and an overall plan. So that was number 3, simplifying your investments. We'll keep moving forward here. Another ways, the 4th way to simplify your retirement plan is when it comes to taxes. And in regards to taxes, I find a lot of times people are trying to overcomplicate taxes, meaning they're looking for some like hidden savings. People always feel like, oh man, there's gotta be something out there that everybody else is doing that I'm not doing, and my tax preparer is not telling me about it, or my financial professional is not telling me about it. There's these hidden tricks that the ultra wealthy and rich are using, and what they're doing is they're just forgetting about taking advantage of the basics. And they're skipping right over the basics. So I'll say this, stop looking for this hidden, complicated tax savings and just get back to the basics, keeping things simple. So maybe you're still saving for retirement. Are you putting your money into your 401k or Roth 401k? And why have you chosen which one that you're putting money into? Maybe if your taxes are going to be higher in the future, you should be putting your money into your Roth 401k, where you get the pay tax today, tax-free in the future. Tax rates have been dropped in 2017, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. They'll go back up at the end of 2025. So maybe it's a good opportunity here, 2024, 2025, to use that Roth 401k. It all depends on you and your future. But again, back to the basics, 401k versus Roth 401k. Do you have a high deductible health plan? Are you maxing out your HSA? All too often, people are looking for these overcomplicated tax savings, find out that they have a high deductible health plan. I'm saying, hey, have you put money in your HSA? Nope. What's that? The HSA, you get it's an above the line deduction. You get a tax deduction today for putting money in. It grows tax free. And then as long as you use it for appropriate health and medical needs in the future, then you can use the money tax free too. Oh, by the way, you can invest that money so it will grow and compound throughout your future as well. The HSA is an awesome tool for your retirement, and people skip over it all the time. All right, so let's say you've figured out the 401k versus Roth 401k. You're maxing out your HSA. How about then your IRA or Roth IRA? All too often, people are going, man, I wish I could just save on taxes at the end of the year. And they got $100,000 sitting in their savings account, and they could take some of that money and put it into their IRA or to their Roth. What about the spousal IRA or Roth IRA? See, there's a lot of opportunity right in front of you to either get tax-free future money and tax-free growth, or a tax deduction today. And a lot of times people are just skipping right over those because they're going to the more complex, complicated ideas that may not even work for them versus just keeping it simple. If you're in retirement, what about that? How can you keep that simple? Well, should you be doing Roth conversions? Are you donating to a charity or to a church? If you're age 70 and a half and over, maybe you should be using QCDs, qualified charitable distributions. People think, well, maybe that's just because somebody gives thousands of dollars. No, we've done them for clients that give $100, a couple $100. QCDs are for everybody that's 70 and a half and older and has an IRA or to be able to make that charitable contribution from. And that's money then that you don't have to pay tax on, tax savings. Maybe you've saved up a little bit more, you're using those, but you're still looking for ways to save. Well, then maybe we need to start looking at donor advised funds or gifting appreciated assets. But I just named off, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things here. Simple ways, keeping it simple, to help you reduce the long-term taxes that you'll pay to the IRS. So when it comes to taxes, let's stop looking for the overcomplicated tax savings ideas and start with the basics. And if you've gotten through those, well, then maybe we can start looking into some things in regards to other ways to save on taxes, but make sure you're tackling those first. And then moving on here. Oh, actually, I want to go back because I just was looking at my notes here. One other thing when it comes to taxes. Let's say you have money in a brokerage account and you manage your own investments and you love to trade your own investments. Just remember, in a brokerage account, which is a non-retirement account, non-IRA, it's not an IRA or a Roth. In that brokerage account, every time you buy and sell, you're creating a tax event. So if that's you, again, simplify your tax savings opportunities. Buy and hold in those types of accounts because you'll save yourself in taxes. Okay. The fifth and final way to simplify your retirement plan is when it comes to income. And I know we already talked about this and we said, hey, you want to automate your retirement paycheck. So that was the automation portion. But how do you simplify your income? And I guess this is maybe people that are planning for retirement, or if you're already there. What I mean by this is keeping your income and your retirement paycheck simple. There are a lot of complex instruments and tools out there. You can see on social media, there's a lot of videos pushing different tools for tax-free income. Remember, a lot of times if it sounds too good to be true, it might just be too good to be true, or there's a cost of getting that tax-free income, or meeting with people and that they have tons of annuities with lifetime withdrawal riders. There's nothing wrong with annuities. We have clients that have annuities, but what I'm talking about is people that have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different annuities, all with different riders on them because somebody sold that to them as a way for them to get income in their retirement. So here's what I'm going to say. Simplify your retirement income. Simplify your retirement paychecks, meaning, first off, decide when are you going to start Social Security? That's Social Security planning. That's a whole nother podcast topic. And if you go back through a lot of our shows, you're going to find, me discussing Social Security and pros and cons of different ages and when. So when are you going to start Social Security? And then start filling in the gaps. Do you know from your investments how much you'd be able to take out and make that money last? All of our clients understand, here's how much that they could take out each and every year and make their money last. And then, oh, by the way, we put guardrails on that so they know when they need to potentially adjust up, or if the market has a steep decline, when they might need to adjust down, but never shutting off the faucet, just when do they need to make adjustments. And then if you are someone that's looking for a guaranteed income stream, well, then maybe you want to add in or supplement in there an annuity with a lifetime income rider. But you only would need one, maybe two, depending on spouses and where money sits, but there wouldn't be any reason to need 4 or 5 of them. So really take a look at your future, this retirement paychecks that you're going to want to have coming in, and say, hey, am I overcomplicating this? How do I just simplify this? Okay, here's my different sources. Social Security. When am I going to start it? Great. What's left? Well, then I got my investments. How much can I take out from those? Great. Now, one thing that we do like to do with clients is what we call front loading their plan. So maybe adding another layer, maybe a little complexity to it, but then how much can they spend up front in the young and healthy years, knowing that what they'll take out in the future years will still be okay. But how much can you take out of your investments? And then if you're looking to add guaranteed income sources, do you then add in like an annuity or something like that? And if you got a pension, well, that kind of just fits over here with Social Security. When are you going to take it? When are you going to start it? Or do you need to take the lump sum and then use it in that way? So hopefully going through these here today just allows you to kind of take a look at your life, your retirement, and go, is my retirement plan simple or is it a little bit too complicated? Do I know that I'm taking advantage of all of the simple tax opportunities that are out there? Do I have too much paperwork just sitting around at home that overwhelms me, and should I maybe throw some of it away? Am I automating everything that I can automate just to make my life easier, whether it's my savings or if I'm in retirement, or am I automating my retirement paychecks so life just feels normal again? It feels like I'm back to work. Versus trying to keep track of how much you've taken out throughout the year and required minimum distributions. And then your investments. Do you have an investment plan that's simple to understand? Are you working with investments that you understand, or do you not understand them? And if you don't understand them, should they still be in your investment portfolio? And then last, your income. Do you know how much you can take out? Do you know where all of your different income sources are coming from? So hopefully this is just helping you, challenging you a little bit, getting you to think differently, getting you to look at your plan and go, yeah, maybe I was overcomplicating things a little bit. Let's just take a step back, simplify that retirement plan, so that way you can just have a simple plan and go out, enjoy your life, and enjoy your retirement. So hope you found this to be of value and benefit. If so, don't forget to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast channel, or if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're coming out with new videos each and every week on topics just like this, on how to reduce your taxes, ideas for your IRAs and 401ks, as well as your Social Security. So thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Sierens Financial Management, Inc. Sierens Financial Group, Inc. is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management, LLC, AEWM, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Sierens Financial Management, Inc. are not subject to investment advisory requirements. AEWM and Sierens Financial Group, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences, including, but not limited to, a need for additional tax withholding or estimated tax payments, the loss of certain tax deductions and credits, and higher taxes on Social Security benefits and higher Medicare premiums. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. Sierens Financial Group, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Sierens Financial Group, Inc.